We had our first 2 preseason races, both super tours, which were really awesome competitions because we got to race against truly national represented field in both those races. And I think that that's really valuable heading into now U.S. Cross Country Ski Championships as our next race on the docket, because we got to race against nationally competitive fields, and for our student athletes to go there, have the competitive success that we did have, just gives them an immense amount of confidence heading into U.S. Cross Country Championships, because there'll be a couple additional collegiate teams, but outside of that, it's pretty much the same field as we've already raced. Last year we didn't get to do any head-to-head racing, mass start racing or head-to-head sprint races because of COVID mitigations. We only raced interval start distance races. So this year we've got to do both sprint races, both competition weekends early season, as well as a mass start skate race this last weekend. And it's really fun for the student athletes because they definitely missed that ability to truly compete alongside their competitors and not just against the clock. And strategically, tactically, those races are a lot different in that sense, right? An interval start race, you are just racing against the clock, and you're really coming up with your own race plan and having to try to execute that to the best that you can. But you have to have a whole different level of race awareness in those mass start or sprint races where you're racing alongside your competitors, and it makes it a lot more fun and a lot more interesting for the athletes especially. We get to race obviously at Soldier Hollow, which is the 2002 Olympic venue for U.S. Cross Country Ski Championships, and we also are going to race there at the NCAA Skiing Championships this year. So I think a couple things. Well, we have quite a few of our student athletes that have raced there, whether it was at a previous junior national championship that they had before they raced for Michigan Tech, or a couple of our student athletes got to go and train there this fall with a national training group camp, which is really great. So some of them are pretty familiar with the venue, some of them aren't, but it'll be really fun because obviously it's a historic venue for our nation. And one thing that's awesome about having U.S. Cross Country Championships at the same venue as NCAA Championships is that will be a great preview for our student athletes, obviously before we get to our big show in March. U.S. Cross Country Championships, we have 4 different competitions, and those are spread out across 6 different competition days, I believe. So the first 3 races you race one day and have an off day in between, and then the last couple are back to back. We really try to make sure that those days in between competition are really focused on energy management, so making sure that you're doing just the minimal amount of work that you need to do to keep yourself fresh and ready to go for the next competitive day. Also, obviously on recovery is huge, so fueling well, even doing things like going for a short jog or a short ski, and then really trying to hone in wax and equipment. Our coaches were out there testing skis for up to 16 hours a day. It's a lot, right, on those race days. But our student athletes on those pre-competition days, they're out there as well testing their different race skis and picking their skis that they're going to want to compete on for that next day.